this is a property in Tennessee. This is the very last page of the appraisal, and it's going over
Tennessee?
Huh?
Property in Tennessee?
Or Georgia, yes, Tennessee, this one. We were doing 40 or 50 transactions a month out of Tennessee, Missouri, Georgia, South Carolina. And the way that we were doing it was we were having a hard money lender come in and buy these completely destroyed houses, right? And then take 10 or 15 or $20,000, dump it in for some crappy carpet and a little bit of wall covering, CO2 unit, and then we refinance them out of the new value. The deal mortgage doesn't have a seasoning requirement for conventional financing. So it's not that, there's no 90-day rule, and there's no, I gotta wait a year for the appraised, to be able to use the appraised value to refinance out of it.
Was that Memphis Invest?
That's one of them, yeah. That was one of the groups that we worked with. But they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. Okay? So what we would do is, so for this example, if you guys look at the top line there, it says that the property won the MLS 7/8/2011 for $38,500. Was reduced to $34 grand and then sold, 3 months later, just under 3 months later? And that was a cash deal. So they brought in a hard money lender who charged them, 5 or 6 or 10 points or whatever it was, 12% interest. We refinanced them out within 3 months. So they only had 3 months of interest on there. I'm actually just a little bit less than that. And the new value that we got on this property was $60,000. So it almost doubled, but they dropped in $15,000 of upgrades, and that's on another page of the appraisal. So they're into it basically just right around $45,000 less the cost and so forth. We did a refinance at 75% loan value for them, which was $45,000 or so. So now the thing about the Tennessee, Missouri, Georgia, South Carolina properties is they cash flow very, very well. So $60,000 property still getting $800 a month, $900 a month in rent. So your payment's $385, and you're immediately cash flowing $400 or $500. Then you fall back into the rules of conventional financing, which requires anything over 4 properties, and then it starts getting problematic. Credit score goes from a 620 requirement to a 720 requirement, so it's a pretty big jump. And if you're buying a bunch of properties and financing stuff and moving your money around, your credit score usually gets kind of beat up, so you kind of got to be careful about that. You stay focused on the one thing.
And then also what happens to reserve requirements?
It goes out 6 months typically, anything over 4 properties.
For all of them?
Yeah, yes, for all of the properties.
Yeah, so that's the thing to remember, like, as you start to get over 4, you have to have 6 months in reserves for all of them.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Does anyone have any questions? Because he just vomited out like a ton of information.
Dennis, help me out here. What do you got?
Oh man.
But 6 months reserves can be investment accounts.
It could be your IRA. It could be your E-Trade.
70% of your 401k or something like that.
Yeah. They take in your penalties and whatnot if you have withdraw cash, liquefy it. No, I mean I think that sounds great. I mean, we don't blend over there.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm not saying that, but this applies here in this case. It's not. So how we've done it and how we've closed it. I mean, millions of transactions this way. I mean, like literally,
It was hold on.
40, 60.
I mean, essentially, it was cash or hard money.
Yes.
Right.
There's no way the property was going to be.
Yeah. So then they did the repairs.
Yep.
And then you went through and essentially refi.
So we took the value, the purchase price, and the value added it up to justify the new sales price, or the new value that we appraised it at, right?
Yeah.
So it has to be justified. You can't just walk into a property and say, oh, I picked that up for 40. Let me go ahead and refinance at the new value of 70, unless it's super supported. But if you go in and drop, $10,000, $12,000 into the property and it makes it financeable, they understand the difference between financeable and non-financeable.
you can do
That's
that
why you're picking up.
you're doing that within 6 months. You don't have to wait a year. No seasoning.
You're doing that
You
within
take it
4 days.
4 days.
The second that the work is done on the property,
We're crazy.
you're refining. You're out. You're done.
That's how I bought
And
my
actually,
duplex in 2
we
months
were
later.
and we were refinancing. We were doing the appraisal the day after they recorded. I would order the appraisal. Once their name was on title, I ordered the appraisal, and then I had my appraiser go out and say, okay, the value of the property, if you do this, 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 and this, is going to be this. And then we went and did those things, and that's how much cash we spent on the property.
Oh, hold on. So the appraisal was an as repaired.
Subject to.
Subject.
To completion.
Yep.
Yep. And I've got a copy of the appraisal.
And you got an as repaired value.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
And so what we did,
that's pretty
That's
sweet.
gangster.
so we would take the bids and we would give the bids to the appraiser. And say, this is what we plan on doing, if there's anything else, call me. Yeah. 30, 40 of those a month, but $60,000 loans, it was like, you know, everything's high balance, APR stuff. But non-owner, not so much restricted, can still charge, we could charge them our LLPAs, right?
So,
If it was rented, can you use 75% of the
Projected rents?
projected rents?
Absolutely.
But if there's no tenant in there, you can't.
Well, how can you rent a property you don't own, but if it's a refinance, then yeah, you would have to have a tenant. And then you would have to have a deposit check from them, proof of the deposit in the first contract. Right, but I mean, you know,
yeah, so you've got the
You know.
lease, you kick back over the, you know, the copy of the check that shows it's been cashed. There's your
Oh,
proof.
but
Yeah.
isn't it the rule you have to have tenants for 2 years overall in your whole life?
Uh,
Or something like that, they're not like that.
no, yeah, a history of being a landlord.
Yeah.
Some programs require that, but if you're buying your first rental property, how are you gonna have a history of being a landlord? They use their heads for once. So, yeah, cool. Any questions?
I love it, perfect, thank you.
Good, awesome.